So, my name's Lorelei Plotczyk, and I'm speaking about Truth or Drought. And my other vegan activism is through my vegan humor site called Brain on Hugs. I also help out vegan publishers with their Circles of Compassion Facebook page. And I helped start what may be the first nationally affiliated environmental group addressing animal agriculture's impact on the environment, and that's called the Planet-Based Diet Team, or San Diego 350, which has been very challenging trying to get environmentalists to make the connection. And I've been added to this convention at the last minute, so thank you to Julie Meskel and of course Bob. And I do most of my activism behind the computer, so this is my first time speaking about this, so thank you so much.
Speak louder.
Okay, I will speak louder. So what if your friend tells you she has a confession to make? Even though here in California, we're in a severe drought with no end in sight, every day she fills her bathtub 12 to 22 times, just because she likes how running water sounds, or maybe feels, or looks. You'd think that's irresponsible and unfair to the rest of us, right? Should she maybe even be fined by the water authority? Well, I'm just kidding. No one really does that, I hope. But what if someone needlessly consumed that much more water every day just because they like how something tastes, say, meat and animal products? Well, that is exactly what most people do every single day, using up to 22 50-gallon bathtubs of water, more than they need to be. Doing so for one sensory preference would cause outrage, while the other, ambivalence, nonchalance, even defensiveness. It would be called a personal choice rather than something that violates everyone's right to a basic necessity, water. But much like other aspects of eating animals, this choice affects everyone, and most of our society is almost completely blind to it. We're outraged over a sprinkler hitting a driveway, but either unaware or ambivalent that more than half of the entire US water supply goes towards something that isn't compassionate, healthy, or remotely necessary. Here is the amount of food and water going to the insane amount of cows we've bred into this world just to fatten up and kill, compared to the humans in this world. This graphic is from Cowspiracy. So the low end of my earlier number, 12 bathtubs, is from the biased vegan propaganda group, National Geographic, whose online article, Water Conservation Tips, says, quote, on average, a vegan, a person who doesn't eat meat or dairy, indirectly consumes nearly 600 gallons of water per day, less than a person who eats the average American diet. The high-end 22 bathtubs is from the Water Footprint Network number. So that amounts to 20 50-gallon bathtubs of water a day that would otherwise go down the drain that a vegan diet saves. That's 8,030 bathtubs a year. Meanwhile, the popular tip of taking shorter showers would save you 730 gallons a year if you showered every day, which would amount to 14 and a half bathtubs saved. So the little heard water-saving tip of adopting a vegan diet saves 6,705 and a half more, I don't know if I did my math right there, more bathtubs than the most popular water-saving tip of taking shorter showers. When I hear someone talking about saving water by taking shorter showers or watering their lawns less without mentioning how much more water they could also be saving by eating a plant-based diet, I feel like I'm living in the Matrix. I recently encountered employees of the San Diego Water Authority's campaign, When in Drought, and I brought this up. They had no idea what I was talking about, so I elaborated. I explained this tip from Oxfam International, that replacing one meal with lentils instead of beef, as we should with every meal, saves 17 bathtubs full of water. Their eyes widened a bit before one of them explained uncomfortably that, well, not everyone might want to stop eating meat. I replied that not everyone might want to take shorter showers either, but this is encouraged, even though it only saves a fraction of the water. She told me to write to their email and have a nice day. So I'm not a water scientist, although Lauren Kaur is a scientist. She spoke yesterday on the water issue. And I'm not an academic, although I do have a graduate degree with an environmental management specialization. But I started this grassroots campaign as a get-together I arranged through the Vegan Meetup Group, along with Mike Weinberg from Vegan Diego, who spoke earlier. He's in this photo and in this room. And Ronnie Steinow, who is also in this room. And it evolved into the Truth or Drought Facebook page, and I have admittedly become rather obsessive about curating all of this clear, undeniable, scientific evidence that cycling crops and water through animals before killing them and then cleaning up the carnage is where most of the water in the United States is going. And with every news report or water-saving tip that doesn't encourage plant-based foods, my resolve grows stronger. On March 12th, Jay Fimiglietti, a senior water scientist at NASA, announced that California has 1 year of water left in our reservoirs. And after that, we'll be relying solely on our rapidly depleting groundwater. Yet, people are still eating meat and dairy and eggs. The major contribution of these foods to our water crisis still isn't even on our radar. The idea that someone could be fined for watering their lawn on the wrong day, but could then go inside and serve their family a pound of beef at dinner, which uses enough water for a year of showers, according to some estimates, is completely and totally insane. Why is this disconnect happening? People may not care about their health. Maybe they say they don't care about the atrocities against animals or even the environment. But water, drought, it's all over the news lately. People are talking about it because they're afraid it will affect them and their own families. So this graph is from Pacific Institute's 2012 report, California's Water Footprint. Can you see it? Is it clear? Not really. The top 2 bars, can you see how the top 2 bars are literally off the chart? That top bar is animal feed, and the second bar below it is alfalfa, straw, and hay. This is California's blue and green water footprints of goods and services produced in California by product. So underneath the alfalfa, straw, and hay is almonds, and underneath that is residential use, and then rice goes on, produce. So why isn't this chart all over the news? Why is there no mention of the fact that the water requirement of animal feed grown in California is literally off the charts compared to every other human use in the state? Instead, when people talk about California agriculture's role in water depletion, they usually talk about produce. Tomatoes, strawberries, avocados, almonds. Almonds are almost always mentioned as a culprit. There is no doubt that too much water is being used to grow almonds in a drought-stricken state, but these nutritious foods are eaten directly by humans and quite sparingly compared to meat products, and their water requirement doesn't come close to that of animal agriculture. What's usually never mentioned are those tens of millions of living, breathing animals who not only drink water every day, as plants do, but who also eat plants that drink water for weeks, months, or even a year or more. I guess it's easy to forget about them when we confine most of them to warehouses and try not to think about them. And I want to add, of course, I'm not suggesting that we let them die of thirst, which I think I have some troll commenting every day on the Facebook page. But we clearly need to stop breeding them so we can use our scarce water to grow food, not feed. So what I'm trying to do with Truth or Drought is just pulling together takeaways from, say, a long article that maybe people won't bother to read, and just kind of pull that quote or that fact that people need to know, and hopefully they'll share it. And sometimes I've had a few things get shared over 1,000 times, so it's working on some level. Okay, and I mentioned that I also have a vegan humor site called Brain on Hugs, so I have this slide in here and I think it's out of place, but here's some comedic relief quickly. This is my most popular meme I've ever made. It says, a veggie hot dog made from plants instead of eyeballs, lips, and assholes? Disgusting. Sorry. A little comic relief. Okay, back to the serious stuff. So I've pulled together countless articles, stats, and quotes from sources that are academic, scientific, and highly reputable publications, all in consensus that animal agriculture uses outrageous and unsustainable amounts of water. But as concrete as these sources make this information, we really just need to use common sense to understand why meat products require so much water. You see, animals bred for food are not just globs of the muscle tissue that are eventually eaten. They're living, functioning beings with many body parts and bodily activities and functions to build and support. What is taken from the slaughtered animal in the end amounts to a small portion of all the resources that went into him or her. Along with its leading role in water depletion, animal agriculture is the #1 cause of water pollution as well, due to the unfathomable and unmanageable amount of excrement so many animals produce. These are just some of the reasons why the UN says that urgent action must be taken to address this problem. And if the world hunger issue can be addressed as well, which Brown University's World Hunger Program said in the 90s, that a vegetarian diet can feed billions more people, I think that's reason enough to adopt a vegan diet. Here, Dairy Herd Management published as a little fun fact that dairy cows have the highest daily drinking water requirement per unit pound of body weight of any land mammal on Earth. We have almost 2 million of these poor ladies being used in California, which is proud to call itself the leading dairy state in the nation. 1 gallon of cow's nursing fluid, or baby calf growth fluid, as Dr. Kepler called it in Cowspiracy, requires about 880 gallons of water to produce. And we're bragging that we're the #1 dairy state. There's a disconnect, big time. So we obviously need real water-saving tips, but we're not getting them from the local news or our water-saving campaigns. So I started a change.org petition, petitioning statewide water-saving campaign, Save Our Water, called Give Californians the #1 water-saving tip. And if you Google that on your smartphones right now and sign it, I won't be offended that you're on your phones. It's called Give Californians the #1 water-saving tip, and it's on change.org. And I'll just read a little bit of it for you now. Okay. Save Our Water isn't addressing the #1 way residents can actually save the most water by far. This crucial information is desperately needed during our severe ongoing drought. Despite their hashtag #EveryDropCounts, their water-saving tips focus only on household use, which accounts for 4% of California's water footprint. But a whopping 47% of drought-stricken California's water footprint is associated with meat and dairy products. These are the kind of tips that are completely missing from Save Our Water's campaign. That 1 hamburger can save 660 gallons of water by not eating a hamburger. Stockholm International Water Institute said in their report, Feeding a Thirsty World, that we absolutely must shift away from animal foods in order to have a water supply. And this quote is from the New York Times op-ed article, Meat Makes the Planet Thirsty. There's a clear and accessible action most citizens can take in the case of drought, reducing or ideally eliminating the consumption of animal products. And I'll just skip through a couple. This was a water-saving tip from the Municipal Water District of Orange County, so this was shocking that they actually addressed on the bottom right corner the high water intake of meat products. So, Save Our Water has already publicly acknowledged that the water footprint of animal husbandry is greater than other activities, which was in the movie Cowspiracy again. He said that they don't address it, quote, because of the way the government is set up here. They've already acknowledged it. We're simply asking Save Our Water to begin encouraging residents to make more plant-based food choices the same way they encourage them to do things like to take shorter showers. In closing, we are cycling astronomical amounts of drought-stricken California's scarce water through tens of millions of animals for a product we don't need that causes unimaginable amounts of suffering. Yet without water and plants, we can't survive. How did we get here? What will it take to get people to at least acknowledge the unsustainable basic math of what we're doing and then change? A meme, a quote, a fact? Maybe, maybe not. But as Save Our Water says, hashtag every drop counts. Thank you.